Hey, welcome to Attract Clients, Connect Authentically. This is week 1. And by now, I'm sure you filled out this form. And if you haven't, that's okay. You can go back underneath this video. There's another one that has the video of how you fill this out. And I decided to use this flower grid because there's a balance with flowers. The petals just all seem to have this like unique balance to them. And if you ever notice when you looked at a flower, one petal is missing, it sort of just seems sad, right? It seems off kilter. It's sort of how I feel. When one part of me feels like it's not in sync with all the other parts of me, I don't feel like myself. And in this world of multitasking, of doing so many different kinds of things, staying grounded and staying in sync with all the parts of myself is really important for me to really be present in the things that I choose to do. I find that when I'm too dogmatic about something and things become too intense, I'm not saying the right message. And if I'm too flighty talking to you like I am on this video, then you're lost with what I'm trying to say. So there needs to be a sort of balance with the examples that you give and how you portray yourself and and how you portray yourself in these conversations that you have with potential clients. And let's face it, the conversations that you have with potential clients is really almost like when you are dating, when you start dating. What do you do when you start dating? You get to know somebody, right? Maybe you have a cup of coffee, you have a conversation, you have a glass of wine, and over several conversations, you get to decide whether or not you actually want to spend more time with this person or it's just not the right fit. And even if you're not talking about a romantic relationships, you do the same thing in friend groups. You go to a party and there's certain people who you automatically gravitate to. And the conversation flows and it's easy and you feel like you have an understanding with them and they understand you. And that cycle continues the conversation. Not so much maybe with the people on the other end of the room. As much as you like to be polite with them, those aren't your people. And you sort of know when you go to these events, who are your people and who aren't your people. Well, it's pretty much the same thing in coaching. You have to know who your people are and who your people are not. And how do you want to show up for those people? How do you actually want to communicate your message to the people, those people? The truth is that whenever I'm inspired by a person, I'm never really just inspired by what they're saying. It's really a culmination of things. It's what they're saying. It's also how they represent themselves, how authentic what they're saying rings true to who they actually are, right? And also, can I relate to what they're talking about? Do I understand it? When they're speaking, do I feel like this is making sense to me? Right? Because if you're talking to other people and you're not getting it, then chances are that person's going to walk. And the truth is that every person that is in the universe can't be your person. As sad as that may be, it's sort of a reality. My daughter was 8 years old one day, and I was sort of sad because I had a disagreement. Not a real disagreement, but like wasn't a comfortable situation. I was with a speech client, and I felt like the mom and I just didn't understand each other. And she said to me, "Mommy, you can't be upset about that. Everybody can't like you." And I thought, wow, profound, so true. It's the stuff that I was telling her for years. You go to school, you make friends with the people that you want to be with. You can't be friends with everyone. And I'm going to say the same thing here. You meet a lot of people that you potentially would like to coach. And the real trick is when you're having those conversations with people, it is not just about them liking you. It is about the rapport that you have with them as well. Somebody could really like you, but for whatever the reason is, the rapport that you feel in working with them feels like a lot of work. It feels like they're not understanding where you're coming from. Or maybe you get the vibe that that person isn't so serious. Whatever it is, it has to be an integration of two people. That's how you get a rapport, right? When you're out of rapport with somebody, it feels stiff and static, and it feels uncomfortable. So when you're seeking a rapport with a client, to build a rapport with a client, to be able to work with somebody, you have to be able to build that sense of rapport. Okay? So now you're saying, okay, like that makes a lot of sense. I get it. Now, how do I find people to build a rapport with? Ha. Well, the way you find people to build a rapport with so that they actually would like to work with you is by having them identify with the journey you took, with the story you tell. And when I say story, I'm not talking about a made-up fairy tale. I'm talking about a story that you had in your life that you transitioned out of, that you changed, that you figured out a strength point and decided enough is enough, and you changed the way you do things. Those kinds of stories compel people to want to listen. So I'm not talking about the story of how you meet people at a party. You know, hi, my name is Robin, and I'm a psychic life coach, and I love working with people. I'm not talking about that story. I'm talking about this story. I like to work with people on, and this is the one I tell, that I like to work with people on having them identify their value and their joy so that they can activate their life purpose and figure out the steps it takes to actually execute it and live it. So that's a line. That's not really a story. And a lot of people use those lines to talk about what they do. And they're interesting. But when you're having a conversation with a client, more than one or two sentences, the story that they really want to hear is, how did you get here? So when I tell my story, I will tell people that for years I was walking around feeling like my value came from doing things for other people. The person who made the dinner, the person who took care of things around the house, and I would do it to the point of utter exhaustion because I thought by doing it well, I would have value. But I found in the end that it didn't give me value. That actually, when people didn't like what I was doing, I felt quite devastated and upset and thought I was out of my mind. I mean, how could I be upset because somebody didn't like the dinner I was making? How could I be so upset about me picking up socks for someone and them not liking it? How could it be so crushing? Well, it was crushing because the task defined my purpose. So I thought. But then I realized that really isn't true. That my purpose is defined by the things that I hold dear to my heart just by being myself. And that I don't need to actually do those things to be valuable. When I realized that was a big aha moment for me. Now, if I tell that story to people, that has a totally different spin than that little one-liner that I made. So how do you get there? How do you know what the story is that you want to tell people? How do you know what's the story that's going to compel people to want to speak to you, to get to know you, to see if you have a rapport so that you can work together? Well, one of the ways that you do it is by understanding your why. Your why you want to be a health and life coach. What is it that you want to give to other people? Activate in other people. See them do. Right? And if you know that piece, that's wonderful. And if you don't worry. We'll figure it out. So, I want to take you on a little journey now in a meditation to help you sort of identify and communicate to you the story that you would like to share. And if you think you know it already, that's okay. I would still encourage you to do the meditation because I really think it will even expand it even further. So I'm going to take a drink of water. And I want you to find a place that's comfortable to sit. And I want you to gently close your eyes and relax your shoulders and your face and the space between your eyes. And your arms. And your stomach. And relax your hips and your knees, your ankles and your feet. And see if your feet can touch the ground flat. And take a deep breath in and blow out. And let's take another deep breath in and blow it out. And on this next breath in, take it in through your heart and breathe in love and compassion for yourself, for the desire of knowledge and understanding of how to find the people that you want to work with that are your ideal clients. And take that breath up through your throat to allow those words to emanate from your mouth. The perfect words that you want to use to create the story, to compel people to work with you. Breathe it into your nose and into your eyes and see the vision of you speaking to people, communicating your story, and them feeling inspired so much so that they want to work with you to create that inspiration within them. And let that air travel up to your mind to know that there is nothing more than you need to learn about yourself. There is nothing more that you need to create. That you are perfect right where you are and have the ingenuity, creativity to know exactly what to say about the life that you lived that allowed you to come to this place to want to work with people as a health or life coach to facilitate them on their journey of transformation and self-discovery.